I look back and it's sad because we got to a point towards the end that we were just looking forward for it to be over. And that's not how you want to end a season. That's not a feeling that you want to have.
Lexie Hull is about to blow the lid off the Fever's roller coaster 2024 season. There are all these pressures and expectations, but we as a group were really resilient. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But what really happened behind closed doors in her latest interview with Locked On Women's Sports, Hull unveils the biggest secrets of the Indiana Fever's magical turnaround, alongside Caitlin Clark.
Delighted to have ACC legend Lexie Hull. Is that what we have to do now? Oh my God!
I don't like the sound of that.
I know. Me either.
What really caused their early meltdown, and how did they flip the script to become title contenders? What was the role of Christy Sides in all this? What does she really think about her new coach, Stephanie White? Get ready for the inside scoop on Indy's wild ride. Are you ready? Let's go.
When I was in college, I didn't even know if I wanted to play professional basketball because I didn't know if it was a real career path for me.
Picture this Lexie Hull, a former national champion and the 6th overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, sitting on the bench, watching, waiting. It's not how she thought her 2024 season would start. But there she was on the sidelines while Katie Lou Sampson and Christy Wallace played instead.
You're talking to Christy Sides early on where you're being told, I am going to get more of this playing time, more of this opportunity. And does that help feed your confidence as well?
Hull's time in the WNBA had been tough. Her shooting wasn't as good as it was in college in her first 2 years. She struggled with her three-point shots, only going in 11% to 22% of the time. That was a big drop from her great shooting at Stanford.
I think, definitely early on in my career when our team, my first year, winning 5 games in a season, and then you're not performing great. It's like, where do I belong? This league is tough. Like, what am I doing wrong? And so there's doubts for sure.
The pressure was hard to handle. Paul pushed herself in every practice and game to show she belonged. It wasn't just about living up to being picked 6th in the draft anymore. She wanted to prove she could play in the best women's basketball.
Your ability to shoot was something that we've talked about on previous programs. It's something that you never questioned. It was something that Lynn Dunn was certain of when she drafted you. It was something that, if I will be frank, people around the league were hoping for. This idea that, this is something you'd always done well in college. It was difficult to find a rhythm. It was difficult to find playing time, which makes a difference as far as a rhythm goes.
But things started to change on May 25th. Playing against a Las Vegas Hull got hot and made 4 3-pointers early in the game. Suddenly, she felt more comfortable on the court.
Just put up shooting 47.1% from 3.
As the season went on, Paul got better and better when she played more than 30 minutes in a game. She made an amazing 66.7% of her 3-pointers. Paul said, getting more chances to play and seeing my shots go in really boosted my confidence.
You played more than 30 minutes per game this season. Do you know what you shot from 3? You shot 66.7% from 3. When you went out there, there's no such thing as tired legs in that scenario. You are sinking 2 and 3. No one does that. No one does. I mean, it's just incredible.
The biggest change was how Hull thought about things. She stopped doubting herself and started appreciating her journey. I'm just grateful for how the sport is growing, she said, feeling more positive about her situation.
It's incredibly satisfying. Looking back on a season, the things that you take are those percentages. Those are the things that, you're working to improve year after year. And so just, really, really proud of myself for sticking with it and believing in myself and continuing to work. And then being able to finish the season with a percentage that I'm proud of.
Hull's comeback was great, but it was only the beginning. The Fever season was about to get really interesting, and Hull was ready to be a big part of it. Just as Lexie Hull found her groove, the entire Indiana Fever team faced a challenge that threatened to derail their season before it truly began. 11 games in 20 days. It sounds impossible, doesn't it, for the 2024 Fever? It was just the beginning of their uphill battle.
Our season was not always fun, and I think that you learn a lot from that. And so being able to kind of talk about those experiences and share like how we can be better and like just stick it out. Like it's okay. Like, yes, losing games sucks. No one wants to lose games.
The WNBA hadn't seen a schedule this brutal since 2003. Now imagine facing this gauntlet as a young team still trying to find its identity. The Fever weren't just playing games. They were bat against the league's elite night after night with barely a chance to catch their breath.
Obviously, even if we didn't have a brutal schedule at the start, the expectations are still there and it might not go how you want it to go. And that's just part of those growing pains. And then you add in trying to build chemistry, and then you're adding in a very difficult schedule.
As the losses piled up, so did the pressure. The team stumbled out of the gates with a disheartening 2-win-loss record for a squad that had just landed the #1 draft pick. Expectations were sky high, but instead of living up to the hype, they found themselves in a downward spiral. Lexie Hull, still finding her footing after her early season bench stint, felt the weight of those expectations in her own words. She described the team's mindset.
All of these pressures and expectations, again, it's like, are we good enough? Are we going to be good enough?
Behind closed doors, the team's morale was hanging by a thread. Coach Christy Sides faced the unenviable task of keeping her players focused and motivated amidst the mounting losses. But how do you build team chemistry when you're constantly on the road facing one tough opponent after another? The lack of practice time only compounded their struggles, with games coming thick and fast. There was little opportunity to work on their weaknesses or develop new strategies. It seemed like the Fever were caught in a perfect storm of bad scheduling and tough competition.
Ran the numbers at the Knicks. No one had gone through what you went through since the 2003 WNBA season. Was it hard in those early days to kind of keep your equilibrium between the attention and the amount of difficulty in the schedule itself?
How close did they come to falling apart? The breaking point was near. Lesser teams might have crumbled under the pressure, pointing fingers and fracturing into cliques. But something remarkable happened in those darkest moments. Hull revealed the team's secret weapon: resilience. We as a group were really resilient and stuck together. She said instead of turning on each other, they turned to each other for support. They dug deep, pushing through grueling practices whenever they could find the time.
I think we as a group were really resilient and stuck together and believed that this process was going to play out and that we were going to get better. We're going to be a team that can compete against every team in the league. And we did that by the end of the season. So I think I'm proud looking back that we didn't just give in and say, it's not this year. Like, we'll start over next year.
It wasn't just about improving their skills. It was about forging a bond that could withstand the toughest challenges the WNBA could throw at them.
Dug deep, we practiced hard, and eventually when we had time to practice in the start, we didn't really have time to practice as a team. We got closer, we got better, and I think you saw that how we played on the court. It just continued to get better and better throughout the year.
But even as they weathered this storm, the Fever knew that resilience alone wouldn't be enough to turn their season around. Something had to change. They needed a spark, a catalyst that could transform their potential into results on the court. Little did they know that spark was about to arrive in spectacular fashion. Enter Caitlin Clark. The rookie sensation brought a whirlwind of excitement to the Indiana Fever reporters. Packed practices, fans scrambled for tickets, and all eyes turned to Indianapolis. But a big question remained. How would this star rookie fit with a team still finding its way?
I remember the draft party in Cambridge, which was the first time we had that many people in Cambridge for not really any performance. The stands were filled, people had their jerseys, people had their gear on, and it was just a hint of what the season was going to be like.
For Lexie Hull and her teammates, Clark's arrival meant dealing with a new level of attention. They felt the pressure to win and live up to the hype around their new star. As Clark settled in, she lifted everyone's game. Hull was amazed by the change. It's awesome to see everyone grow, she said, watching how Clark created new opportunities on the court. Hull had to adjust to Clark's unique playing style. Her vision and passing were unlike anything Hull had seen. It took me a while to realize. She could pass to me from the other end of the court, Hull admitted.
I definitely got passes and tried to finish when I wasn't expecting to get the ball. So now it's okay, every cut I have, every cut I make, every fast break I run, I have a real opportunity to get the ball, which definitely took me a second. And I think it really just took one of those to really get my head around oh, she's all the way down at the other end of the floor and she could still make the pass to me down at the block at this end. So, it's been awesome.
As Hull got used to this, her confidence grew. Suddenly, every move on the court could lead to something big. The game felt different, more open.
So fun to be able to know that you're not just cutting to cut, knowing that you're cutting with the possibility of like actually making a really cool play. So that makes it that much more worthwhile.
But this new opportunity brought a challenge with Clark. Drawing defenders, Hull found herself open more often. Now she had to ask herself, could she make the most of these chances? How would she handle this new freedom on the court? And I
think it's really fun because they garner so much attention, obviously, from the other team's defense. So then it allows the other players, me included, to make cuts, make reads, and they're really good at finding, those openings and giving the ball up when it's needed and finding the better shot. So it's really fun, and I feel really lucky to get to play with them.
Picture this. A player shooting 66.7% when playing over 30 minutes sounds impossible, right? Yet for Lexie Hull, these video game-like stats became reality. How did she go from a bench player to one of the league's best shooters? Hull's shooting numbers are off the charts. Her three-point percentage jumped to 47.1%, way above the league average of 35%. And when she played over 30 minutes, she hit an incredible 66.7% of her shots. That's 2 out of 3, finding the net, leaving defenders stunned.
I think, kind of how you mentioned earlier, just finding the rhythm, finding the confidence in game. Shooting 25 shots in a row in practice is different than getting your 4 looks in a game and not being able to knock them down and having the confidence to continue shooting them. So I think just getting the opportunity in that second half of the season and seeing them go in and then continuing to get those open looks really just fed that confidence. And I think that hot streak towards.
You'd think Hull changed her shooting form or spent all day in the gym, but she didn't. The real change was in her head. Hull focused on staying confident and calm during games, embracing the pressure instead of cracking under it. I'm going to hold myself to that standard, Hull said, showing she wants to keep improving. But shooting this well comes with its own pressure. One bad game and people start wondering if she's lost her touch.
Shot 60% from 3 during those 11 starts during the regular season.
Hull prepares by staying consistent in practice and getting mentally ready. She works on keeping cool when it matters most. Her improved shooting isn't just about her skills. It's about how she fits in the team with other players. Drawing attention, Hull gets better shots.
We have some incredible playmakers on our team and incredible people that can get you the ball when you're open and create advantages. And so me being one of those people that I'm spacing the floor and I need to knock down those shots. So not only, holding myself accountable to do that as my role and hit those open looks, but also being able to stand up for my teammates and say, thank you. You're doing the work, you're doing the hard work, and I'll be here and I'll knock it down when I need to.
Hull's shooting has become crucial for the Fever. But one player doing well doesn't always mean the team wins with a new coach in charge. How will hot shooting fit into the team's plans? And what does she think about Coach White's ideas for the team? The Indiana Fever's journey took an exciting turn with Stephanie White's arrival. Her name carries weight in Indy basketball circles, and this coaching change feels like a homecoming that could reshape the Fever's future.
Immediate reaction to her is she's a winner and she will pull what's best out of everybody, and just very excited about the opportunity to learn from her. And obviously she's went to Purdue, played with the Fever, coached with the Fever. So she's a legend in Indianapolis. So excited to have her back and excited to just be able to completely dive in with her.
White is a WNBA champion and Fever legend, now tasked with leading Indiana back to glory. Her history with the team runs deep. She played for the Fever, coached alongside them, and now she's back in charge. But White isn't here to relive old memories. She's got a clear vision, turn potential into championships. The Fever have talent, but the real challenge is taking a good team and making them great.
Everyone's going to be really bought in, and just excited to see, how she tweaks things and her vision of how we can be better, and individually how we can be better to collectively be the best we could be. So just really excited, and I know that she's excited to be there and excited to change what we can do.
Lexie Hull, coming off a strong shooting season, is already feeling White's influence. She's mentioned specific ways I can be more dynamic. Hull shared White wants Hull to expand her game and become a threat from all areas of the court.
She's mentioned specific ways I can be more dynamic. So, finishing at all 3 levels, being able to use my size and post up and have more of a mid-range game to just make me harder to guard.
Picking things up. She's challenging players to use their size better and become tougher to defend against. It's a fresh approach for Indiana, and the team is buzzing with energy. The big question now is, how WH's methods will work with this young, talented roster. Will her championship experience lead to quick success, or will the team need time to adjust?
All 5 players on the court, hard to guard. It's going to make us really good. But also she's, going to be focused on that defensive side. So bringing as much as I can on that end as well. So I think she just is expecting a lot from everybody. And as every coach should, I'm excited about that.
Paul, see, confident about White's impact. She's a winner and she'll bring out the best in everybody. She said White brings a winning mindset. That could be just what the Fever need to take the next step. As this new chapter begins, it's clear that White and the Fever aim to do more than just win games. They want to reignite the passion between the team and the city and inspire future players who dream of wearing the Fever jersey.
Feelings as a championship, and hopefully we can reach that.
While Stephanie White's arrival has fans excited, the Fever's road to success isn't as simple as it looks. There's a hidden challenge that could throw off their championship dreams. Think about it. The Fever make it to the playoffs, the crowd's going wild, everyone's pumped, but then the pressure hits. It's do or die, and that's where the Fever struggle. Lexie Hall's honest about it. We can do better than that. We can go further. She says it's tough to hear, but it shows how hungry the team is. They're not just happy to make the playoffs, they want to win it all. So what does the Fever need to win a championship experience? Paul puts it simply, we just need experience. You can't buy it or practice it. You have to live through it. Feel the pain of losing and the joy of winning big games.
Excited for all of us to be there and get to play together and hopefully bring home some hardware.
The Fever are working hard to get ready for a championship run. They're looking at past champions, figuring out what they need to improve, and getting mentally tough for the pressure of the playoffs. Hall and her teammates are all in. I think we can win a championship, and I hope we do, she says, sounding like she really believes it. But here's the big question. What's the last thing they need? Maybe it's a player stepping up in a big way. Maybe it's a new game plan that surprises everyone. Or maybe it's just time for this young team to grow into champions as the Fever get ready for 2025. There's a new feeling in the team. Who knows, this might be the year they finally become champions.
So excited for the growth and so excited for what these kids in middle school and even high school, what the opportunities will be like once they graduate college. And yeah, so it's just great that they get to see us so that they can be us 5 to 10 years from now.
Lexie Hull's message to young girls is clear and inspiring. It's possible for you. It's so exciting. Her words come from real experience, from the ups and downs both on and off the court. The Fever's journey shows what can happen when you keep pushing forward. Even when things look tough, the team has come a long way from struggling to make an impact to becoming real contenders. As they aim for the championship, they're doing more than just playing basketball. They're lighting the way for a new generation of players who see themselves in Hull Clark and every member of this determined team, with the Indiana Fever leading the charge. The future of women's basketball looks brighter than ever, sparking excitement and possibility in young athletes everywhere. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.